Boxing Voice.
All right, theboxingvoice.com, live with Keith, one-time Thurman. Keith, the long layoff, everybody's been waiting for you to come back, and now you're back versus Bundu. What could you tell us about this guy?
You know, not too much, man, but enough. I believe he was a 2000 Olympian. He's fought all of his fights over in Italy. He finally had one fight out of the UK when I believe that was his latest fight. He branched out and beat an undefeated young good fighter for their European title or whatever was on the line.
Now,
he seems like a good opponent to me, man. He's undefeated, and that's what I liked about him when I was offered the fight. I wanted to fight another undefeated fighter and challenge myself, man, and do something new. He switches a lot, and he's got me preparing for everything. So I'm really looking forward to this fight. I think this is a great fight coming off of my layoff.
now, is he still ranked in the IBF? Because there was a time where he was supposed to be Kell Brook's mandatory, but I'm hearing that he's no longer ranked in those rankings, and instead he's going after your interim title. When I seen this fight come about, I automatically thought, okay, Keith is going after Kell Brook by putting himself in position to be the mandatory. But if he got dropped out of the IBF rankings, how does this fight make any sense to you?
You know, at the end of the day, you know, we've seen it in the world of boxing. What do these rankings really mean? What do they mean? You know what I'm saying? Champions fight who they want to fight. And people go from one ranking system and then fight in another whenever, you know, it's all about signing contracts, in my opinion, man. Kell Brook stated he wanted to fight me on TV, so I think that fight is always going to be a possibility in my future as long as he stays champion and I stay on the path that I'm headed. I heard the same information that you heard, man, that I have a possibility of getting the number one position. But if that's no longer true, man, it doesn't really matter. That's not the main purpose of why I was taking the fight. The main purpose is simply that I thought it was a good fight. And I like his style. I like his charisma. He comes in shape. You know, I'm always looking for the knockout, but I'm definitely preparing for a great 12-round fight, this fight.
Well, we always expect a knockout. I mean, you continuously put on great performances, and that's why the people, you know, want to know, is this to position you? Because while you may feel the way most feel about the rankings, they do mean something to a fighter that isn't a champion, because he does get to force that mandatory spot, similar to, Hopkins' last opponent in Marat, or similar to Kell Brook when he faced Sean Porter. You know, guys that don't have a big name get themselves into position with the rankings. Obviously, your name is well known. You've been on mostly all the networks, and you're signed to, you know, a big-time advisor/manager, so you can get those opportunities, but you haven't been getting them. Is it due to the shoulder injury, and that's why this year has been a bit lackluster in terms of big-name fights for Keith Thurman?
The shoulder injury definitely didn't help, but I really can't say why, you know, I haven't gotten a big name. If anything, I just say everybody's signing contracts without my name on them. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's fighting everybody else. But we're gonna keep doing what we do, man, and keep building our name and our brand in this welterweight division. And eventually, I really do believe that this should be the last fight where I'm not fighting a top 10 fighter that you guys are used to hearing here in America, like Amir Khan, Devin Alexander, Robert Guerrero, Sean Porter, all those names, you know. I think we're going to get at least one, if not two, going into 2015.
Now, do you think that it's a situation where your name is being presented to the Devin Alexanders and the Amir Khans or the Sean Porters or even the Mayweathers of the world in your division, but they're just simply saying, nah, who else you got for me?
Well, I know for a fact that Al Heyman already asked at the start of this year at the start of this year, I know for a fact that Sean Porter was asked to fight when he was champion, and his dad came out with that article saying that we don't need to fight Thurman right now, and that Robert Guerrero was offered a deal to fight me, and he said no and fought some Japanese fighter. So, I know for a fact that those two people were offered a fight this year. It could have been a possibility. I don't know about Amir Khan and Devin Alexander, and I've yet been proposed a fight with either of those fighters.
Now, we don't know as much as clearly yourself because you deal with Al Heyman, so we could only speculate. But is it a thing where he tells you, because we're talking to you, is it a thing that he tells you, like, Keith, you know what, don't be vocal, your time will come? Because I don't understand why you're not putting these guys on blast. If people are ducking you, you're infamous for the line, you better not duck me. So people would be happy and applaud you if you let them know, like, Robert Guerrero ducked me. He fought that Japanese fighter because he was afraid of me. Sean Porter's dad is protecting him. Why don't you do that? Is it just because you're a humble guy and you don't want to ruin their personalities amongst other boxing fans, or are you being told not to say what's going on?
Nah, man, this is America. Anybody can open up their mouth and say whatever they want, man. What it comes down to is, I was talking when I first hit the television network, when I first hit the scene. I said everything that I had to say. I'm not the kind of brother that likes to repeat himself, though I do have mottos that I repeat all the time, but for the most part, man, I feel like the fans know I want to fight. I don't need to talk about it all the time. You guys know I want to fight. I'm always looking forward to a fight. I say I'm not afraid to let it go. I'm not worried about losing, man. I'm here for the sport. People forget about the sport, man, but I just feel like I need to be patient. I don't know how it all works. We call it political, and nobody knows how anything political works. You know what I'm saying? Nobody, except for the inner circles. So I'm young, and I'm patient, man. I try not to get mad. When I think about who's ducking and dodging me and everything, and if I yell at them and yell about them, that just frustrates me, man. And it brings on a form of stress that I'm tired, man. I'm tired of having that stress, man. So what I do is I don't stress about it. I look at the bright side. I'm grateful for where I am in the world of boxing, what I'm doing in the world of boxing, and that my future is bright. I'm looking at the light at the end of the tunnel, man, and I like what I see. So I'm really not worried about these little trials and tribulations that I got to go through in my career. Other fighters have been through it in the past. I'm not the first, and I'm not the last. And I look forward to the next 10 years of my career, man, if it comes down to that. So we'll see, man. But hopefully we can start breaking the ice next year when we get past December 13th, and give you guys one more great performance this year.
All right, fair enough. So let me ask you the $1 million question. Are you starting to feel like you're the Gennady Golovkin of the 147-pound division, where whoever they put in front of you, you're destroying them, but none of the big names want to deal with you, so you're just basically being ducked, similar to Gennady Golovkin?
Yeah, a lot of people reference us because of our power, our knockout ratio, and the level of competition that we faced thus far. It is very similar, but I just feel like a young dude that's been waiting. A young dude that's been grinding, and waiting for that opportunity. Like I said, I'm not the first fighter they've done this to, man. I remember growing up in my gym and watching Winky, and Dan and everybody in the gym knew that Winky at his prime was one of the best fighters in the world, that there was probably nobody at 154 pounds that was really going to be able to do anything to Winky, you know. Winky always wanted to fight Oscar De La Hoya, and he never got that fight. Throughout his whole career, he never got the fight, you know. So I just look at little things like that, man, and like I said, man, I just try to stay humble, knowing that something good is going to come out eventually.
Now, you spoke about the light at the end of the tunnel. Is that light shining through, cutting the fog, and could you see a silhouette of Floyd Mayweather Jr. at the end? Do you think that you'll be able to get this man in the ring before his contract is up?
Possibly, man. I know I'm in the running. I'm the mandatory when it comes to the WBA title. I went to the WBA sanctioning body asking them personally to enforce the mandatory. That way, that at least if they enforce the mandatory, he either fights me or vacates the title, and I'll at least get the title shot that I deserve. But with all that aside, man, I believe that if I start my year out in 2015 with a proper fight, and by proper fight, once again, it means a named fighter, and hopefully an ex-opponent of Floyd Mayweather. You know, I still want Robert Guerrero. Robert's not fighting this year. When's he going to fight? I'll fight him first thing next year when he's ready after this fight. You want to fight in February? We can fight in February. You know, I would love to open up next year with Robert Guerrero or Chino, man, because Maidana was his last opponent, and Floyd went through him twice, and I know for a fact it's only going to take me one time. So, you know, I look forward to that, man, and really that's what I'm going to want to push for after this, and hopefully if something like that falls through, we can create enough buzz and get that man in the ring before his contract is over.
You see, and this is exactly why I love when you talk. I mean, basically you're saying that you know for a fact you would beat Maidana faster and more convincingly or make a bigger statement. And I think that boxing needs that cockiness. That's why Adrian Broner had such a boom. Unfortunately, it fizzled out when he lost to Maidana. He's going to have to rebuild off of that. But people love people to say what's on their mind. But Keith, I just want to say we just want to see you in the ring. Now, I know that Bundu is 39 years old. Are you going to go into the ring and make him look 39?
You know, when you watch him in the ring, he doesn't look 39, you know? Honestly, Bundu, in my opinion, even though his style is different, to me, he's the closest thing to Floyd Mayweather that I'm going to face on in my career, because here's an older guy who has tons of experience and an Olympian who understands the sport and comes conditioned for 12 rounds, you know? Floyd's older, but smart, wise, and is always in shape, you know? So this is going to be an interesting fight. And I truly look forward to it. I really do. I think, you know, a lot of people don't know him. I don't even really know him. But we didn't know Diego Chavez, man, and that was a tremendous fight. So, you know, he's the best fighter in his country. You know, so I just look forward to those little things, man. And people forget that boxing is a worldwide sport. So, you know, I might not be competing with the head people here in the United States, but I'm competing with world-class competition. Even Zavik is a tremendous fighter from overseas that I fought. One of the only fighter that took me all 12 rounds. The other one that went all the distance was only an 8-round fight, and I dropped that dude in the 7th. Zavik stayed on his feet all 12 rounds. You know, so I respect all these fighters overseas. They got great hearts, great boxing knowledge, and it's been my desire, my dream to be a world champion taking fights like this.
All right, last question. Don't want to take up too much of your time, but I got to ask you, do you ever experience any frustrations when you constantly see Amir Khan's name mentioned with the guy that you feel you're probably the only guy that can beat Mayweather in the division? So is it upsetting that he's constantly on polls, or, you know, people are saying if he beats this guy, he should get Mayweather next, or he himself is saying he's the only one that can, find the code to the May Vinci Code? I mean, does that upset you because it's not your name being mentioned as the possible opponent?
Nah, man, it doesn't upset me. Like I said, man, it's just drama, man. I'm a positive cat, man. I'm happy with what's going on in my career and where I am. You know, I mean, I might not be getting the big mega fights, but I really can't complain, man. You know, life is a blessing. People always want more, man. The American population, economic system, they always want more, man. I want more. I believe I'm gonna get mine. And when you're a brother of faith the way that I am, you just have no worries, man. Like our father, one love, no worries, don't cry. You know, there's nothing to worry about, man. I will have my time to shine. Best believe.
Well, Keith, we can't wait for that moment. December 13th, we're going to be excited to fight, and we wish you the best. And we can't wait for your next fight.
Thank you, brother.
The Boxing Voice.